In a time long, long ago, in ancient Japan, there was a small, small village that has now grown into the very large city of Kawasaki. But in that village there lived a young, handsome couple, and they were very, very content with their simple life. And the most wonderful thing in their life was their beautiful little daughter. She was petite and delicate, and they loved her with all their hearts. Their life was very good for them, but things were changing around them. And it so happened because the husband was a young and vibrant, intelligent man that he was chosen to go to the big city where the shogun lived. Now this was huge. No one in the village had ever traveled to the biggest city before. So everyone was agog. But the wife was very fearful. What's going to happen to her husband? But she was pleased for him and excited for him. So he went off on his great adventure. And after some time, it was time for him to return. So the wife put the daughter in the finest little dress that she hadn't dressed herself up, put flowers in her hair, and wore her favorite blue gown. And, of course, the husband came home to a great loving welcome, and to the very great delight of his daughter, all the gifts that he had bought her that had never been seen in the village before. But then the husband took out the gift that he had bought for his wife, and when she unwrapped it out of the piece of silk, there was a piece of metal, painted on the back with white paint, with beautiful flowers and leaves embossed on it. And then she turned it over, and the husband looked, waiting to see what the effect would be. And the wife said, "Who's that?" Husband said, "What do you see?" And she said, "I see this pretty woman with flowers in her hair, and she's even wearing a blue dress like me." The husband said, "That's a mirror. We have never seen such in our village before, but they're all over the city." Well, the wife was delighted with her gift, and she couldn't help but look in it every day. She would take out the mirror and look in the mirror and see this beautiful being. But then, after a while, she thought, this is not good. I'm becoming too attached to this, seeing myself in this mirror. So she carefully wrapped up the mirror and put it away. But then tragedy struck them. The wife became very ill, and it was very, very obvious that she was going to die. And even now, with the best efforts of her daughter, who had now grown to teenage years, giving her all the loving care of her heart, the mother gradually became weaker and weaker. But just before she was about to pass on, she asked her daughter to bring the silken wrapped mirror to her. And she had her daughter open up the packet. She didn't allow her to look in to the shiny mirror, but she said, "Take this mirror, and every day after I pass on, you look in this mirror and you will see me. And you will be able to commune with me and we will have that close relationship that we have when we're alive. With that, her mother passed on. Now every day, the daughter would take out the mirror, and there she would see her mother. Oh, not sick and pale and thin, but beautiful and vibrant and young. And every day she would tell her mother what had happened during her day. And some days she would say, "Oh, Mother, you would have been proud of me today. I achieved and did all the things that you would have wanted me to be and do." Now, this went on for some long while. And then one day her father couldn't help but notice that there was a great deal of time spent communing and communicating with this mirror. So the father asked the daughter, "What is it that you're doing?" And the daughter told him what the mother had said. "I'm talking with my mother. I can ask her questions and I get the answers. I'm able to communicate with her." With that, a very great wave of compassion rolled over the father, because of course he knew. And he said, "Oh, my darling, I'm not going to finish this story. Now, what would you, as this father, say to this daughter, in this place where we're now at, where our relationship with life has entirely changed, where reflection has taken on a totally different meaning? What would you, as that father, say to his daughter? What would you say to someone who now, as we know people say very often, "Oh, that's a reflection of me. Oh, I see anger in that person, so I must have this anger in me." Reflections, what do they really mean for you now? What would you say to that daughter? Would you burst her illusion? Would you condone what was happening? What would you say to her?
I think I'd have to burst her illusion. You'd have to say that, that's not who you are. You have to be who you are, not live under somebody else's image of, well, not image, but you have to be who you are if you're looking in the mirror and not wanting or being somebody else. Or trying to be.
So what then has that got to do with reflections and life now as we perceive it?
this case, I would say that the reflection of my mother's expectation on her, that she's made her. I think I would say that.
Mm-hmm.
But telling might be not that, but it's what I feel, because it's maybe not that, but I would say what I think it might be.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're seeing isn't what we thought it would have been before. How we looked at something before isn't nowhere how we look at it now.
No.
I think for a time, this process, looking at in the mirror and having the relationship with a mother, was, I would say, kind of a support. But one moment, it's not anymore what it needs to be dropped. It's not anymore something she can continue. It helps her to kind of, I don't know, grow, but contained in a mother mind, kind of. But at one moment she needs to, just like the fruit, just sprout and come out of this form, because she's not the replication of this being. She is another being. She has around.
Well, I don't think we look at it like a reflection though anymore.
No. No. Of course not.
But we don't look at things and compare and go, oh, that's, yeah, like you said before, like now I don't look at somebody and think, oh God, they're angry, that's really, I'm angry deep within. I don't do that anymore. I might have that one, but I don't do that.
So it's interesting to contemplate on, isn't it? Reflections now, and what it really means for us. And it's important in our quest to find the answer to the question that's been posed. But let's see what happens.